Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, 100% Pure Elvis. Thank you for taking the time out to return to my channel, and if you are new to the 100% Pure Elvis channel, welcome aboard and thank you for joining. The vinyl I'm going to share with you all today from my collection is very special indeed. It happens to be the very first vinyl I purchased of Elvis many years ago, and the vinyl in question was released in 1987. I would have purchased this vinyl in the early 1990s, and the vinyl in question is Presley, the all-time greatest hits. And I absolutely love everything about this. I love the title, Presley just says it all, and the all-time greatest hits, the image of Elvis. It just stands out, doesn't it, with this red velvet shirt on here, and on the back you got the track listing across the both sets of vinyl. So there's two vinyls inside. It's a gatefold, and the gatefold is just superb. Absolutely love everything about this middle part of gatefold here. I think it's so well put by RCA, and I'm just going to talk through the track listing if you don't mind. And what I like about this vinyl is after each song it gives you the UK and the US chart position for each of these singles. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to read through the track listing on both sets of vinyl, and then I'm going to go back and share with you the UK and the US chart positions. So I'm going to start with record one, side one. We have Heartbreak Hotel, Blue Suede Shoes, Hound Dog, Love Me Tender, Too Much, All Shook Up, Teddy Bear, Paralyzed, Party, Jailhouse Rock, Don't, Wear My Ring Around Your Neck, Hard Headed Woman, King Creole. Side 2, One Night, A Fool Such as I, A Big Hunk of Love, Stuck on You, The Girl of My Best Friend, It's Now or Never, Are You Lonesome Tonight, Wooden Heart, Surrender, Marie's the Name, His Latest Flame, Can't Help Falling in Love, Good Luck Charm. We're going on to record 2, side 1, She's Not You, Return to Sender, You're the Devil in Disguise, Crying in the Chapel, Love Letters, If I Can Dream, In the Ghetto, Suspicious Minds, Don't Cry Daddy, The Wonder of You, record 2, side 2, I Just Can't Help Believing, An American Trilogy, Burning Love, Always on My Mind, My Boy, Suspicion, Moody Blue, Way Down, and finally It's Only Love. Let's return back to vinyl 1, side 1. So Heartbreak Hotel. So it was issued in 1956, and in the US charts it peaked at number 1, and in the UK charts it peaked at number 2. Blue Suede Shoes. In the US chart it did not peak, but in the UK charts it had a peak of number 9. Hound Dog. In the US charts it was a number 1, and it reached number 2 in the UK. Love Me Tender, another number 1 for Elvis in the US, and in the UK a peak of number 11. Too Much reached number 1 in the US charts and number 6 in the UK. All Shook Up, number 1 in the US charts and number 1 in the UK charts. Teddy Bear, number 1 in the US charts and number 3 in the UK. Paralyzed didn't reach the US singles charts but had a peak of number 8 in the UK charts. Party, number 1 in the US and number 2 in the UK. Jailhouse Rock, number 1 in the US and number 1 in the UK. Don't, number 1 in the US charts and number 2 in the UK charts. Wear My Ring Around Your Neck, number 2 in the US and number 3 in the UK. Hard-Headed Woman, number 1 in the US and number 2 in the UK charts. Then we have King Creole. Did not reach the US singles chart, but number 2 in the UK singles chart. Record 1, side 2, One Night, reached number 4 in the US charts and number 1 in the UK charts. A Fool Such As I, number 2 in the US, number 1 in the UK. A Big Hunk of Love, number 1 in the US charts, number 4 in the UK. Stuck on You, number 1 in the US charts and number 3 in the UK charts. The Girl of My Best Friend didn't reach the US singles charts, but a peak of number 2 in the UK. It's Now or Never, a number 1 in the US and number 1 in the UK. Are You Lonesome Tonight, number 1 in the US and number 1 in the UK. Wooden Heart didn't reach the US singles chart, but number 1 in the UK. Surrender, number 1 in the US, number 1 in the UK. Marie's the Name, His Latest Flame, number 4 in the US, number 1 in the UK. Can't Help Falling in Love, number 2 in the US and number 1 in the UK. And finally, on side 2 of record 1, Good Luck Charm, number 1 in the US charts and number 1 in the UK. We're now going on to record 2, side 1. So we have She's Not You, number 5 in the US, number 1 in the UK. Return to Sender, number 2 in the US, number 1 in the UK. You're the Devil in Disguise, number 3 in the US, number 1 in the UK. Crying in the Chapel, number 3 in the US, number 1 in the UK charts. Love Letters, number 19 in the US charts and number 6 in the UK charts. If I Can Dream, number 12 in the US, number 11 in the UK. In the Ghetto, number 3 in the United States, number 2 in the United Kingdom. Suspicious Minds, number 1 in the United States and number 2 in the United Kingdom. Don't Cry Daddy, number 6 in the US, number 8 in the UK. Finally, record 2, side 1, The Wonder of You, number 9 in the United States and number 1 in the United Kingdom. Record 2, side 2, I Just Can't Help Believing. It didn't reach the the US singles chart, but number 6 in the UK. An American Trilogy, number 66 in the United States and number 8 in the United Kingdom. Burning Love, number 2 in the United States, number 7 in the United Kingdom. Always on My Mind, number 20 in the United States, number 9 in the United Kingdom. My Boy, number 20 in the United States, number 5 in the United Kingdom. Suspicion didn't reach the United States singles charts, but a peak of number 9 in the United Kingdom. Moody Blue, number 31 in the United States and a peak of number 6 in the United Kingdom. Way down, number 18 in the United States, number 1 in the United Kingdom, and finally, It's Only Love, a peak of number 51 in the United States and number 3 in the United Kingdom. So again, they are the chart positions of each song in the United Kingdom and the United States. Is there any standouts for me? I think possibly, if I go back to Love Letters, only peaking at number 19 in the United States. I think that's quite low for that song, number 19. I think it's such a superb song, but peaking at number 6 in the United Kingdom. If I Can Dream, I mean, why wasn't that a top 10 on both sides of the Atlantic? Number 12 in the United States and number 11 in the United Kingdom. It should have been a top 5 or a number 1 all over. Yeah, I don't understand that. And again, an American trilogy, a lowly number 66 in the United States, but reached the UK top 10. I just can't help believing what a great song. And again, didn't reach the United States singles chart, but number 6 in the United Kingdom. You know, I could go on, and I think obviously Way Down, reaching a peak of number 18, but number 1 in the United Kingdom, and Moody Blue, number 31 in the United States and number 6 in the United Kingdom. Again, obviously, personally for me, I'm not overly too sure where was all of these singles released in the United States. So where they didn't reach the singles charts in the United States, did they actually get released as a single? I'm not overly too sure. I would imagine they did. And again, I think we all know with Elvis's latter singles, they didn't perform that well in the United States. And another one that jumps out at me is Always on My Mind, just scraping into the top 20 in the United States singles chart. So again, some great numbers there across both sets of vinyl. But going back to the vinyl itself of Presley, the all-time greatest hits, I just remember when I went out and purchased this album, I was just ecstatic because, I was turning into a huge Elvis fan. I'd started collecting Elvis, started collecting books, magazines, as much on Elvis as I possibly could in these days. And I played this to death. This was constantly on. And again, maybe my mum got fed up with it eventually because I was constantly playing it. And again, I'm always the first to admit, because this was the first album I purchased on Elvis, which was like a greatest hits album, I really didn't know much more than the hits that I was listening to and what my mum had brought me up on. So I think being an Elvis collector and then going out and purchasing his albums on CD and on vinyl and getting to listen to all of Elvis's back catalogue, the gospel, the Christmas songs, it to me, it just meant so much to have this wealth of music behind me because, again, I wanted to hear every Elvis album. I wanted to hear every Elvis song. I wanted to know everything about him. And this album, was the starting point for me. I've said on my channel before, the very first Elvis vinyl that I owned was the 40 Greatest Hits, which was a 1977 release on the Arcade label, and that was given to me by my aunt. Well, my auntie passed away, and my mum gave me that vinyl out of her collection, and then this was my first vinyl purchase on Elvis. And again, to this day, it has to be one of my favourites. I just love, the gatefold, all the information down the side. And again, I love getting as much information as I possibly can. I remember, like most years, I would buy the British hit singles book, and it'd be quite thick. And it would show you each Elvis song that was released in the UK charts, where it reached, how long it was in the charts for. And I loved seeing that information. So to see this album, and I don't think you can see it that well, but I think this was very different. Seeing where each song reached in the United Kingdom singles charts and the United States of America singles chart, I absolutely loved seeing that information on the back of this vinyl and looking at how one single did better in the United Kingdom to what it did in the United States. And obviously, a single reaching number 1 in the United Kingdom, but only reaching, let's say, number 20 in the United States, it's possibly the same, isn't it? Because obviously, United States is just so much bigger, and to reach number 20, you would probably be selling a lot more copies than what it would be to reach number 1 in the United Kingdom. So again, but as we all know, Elvis had number 1s, throughout his career in the United Kingdom. No one touches Elvis for number 1 singles. I know in the United States of America, I do know that Mariah Carey has overtaken Elvis on the artist that has the most number 1s on the Billboard singles chart. Had to happen eventually. An artist comes along and takes that on, and each of their releases get to number 1. But again, in the United Kingdom, no one has come close. I do believe Elvis will be overtaken eventually in the United Kingdom for number 1s. Probably someone like Taylor Swift will take him over. Ed Sheeran maybe. There's so many artists that every single time they release a single here in the United Kingdom, it just goes in at number 1. But for me, the music scene is so different now with streaming and downloading. People don't physically go out and buy it anymore, right? Where in Elvis's day, you had to physically go out and buy the vinyl. You had to physically go out and buy the album. So again, I don't think anyone comes close to Elvis in the number 1s in the UK charts, even if someone does overtake his number of most UK number 1s, because it's just different nowadays. I mean, Presley, the all-time greatest hits, again, this very rarely is in the charts. I mean, but it's an album you can pick up quite frequently. For me, but week in, week out, in the United Kingdom album charts, top 100, and even the top 50 album charts, Elvis Presley always has an album in there. It's always the greatest hits album, obviously. And I think the one at the moment is the number 1s and the 50 greatest hits. They are consistently in the UK top 50 album charts, and that is because the general public and younger fans, younger people becoming used to the Elvis music and want to know more about Elvis, they will go out, download it en masse, stream it, and that's great news for Elvis. And so again, to close off, I thought I would share my thoughts on Presley, the all-time greatest hits. Now, I do know that I did do a review on this not long after I started my channel, but again, it's an album that for me means so much to me. And again, I hope it means a lot to you. Is it an album you have in your collection? I would imagine most Elvis collectors have this in their Elvis vinyl or even CD collection. This was released on cassette, vinyl, and CD. I do have the CD as well. I don't collect cassettes. So again, I just think the front cover is so simplistic. Just a great choice of image of Elvis on the front. And not even using the name Elvis, just Presley. It says it all for me. What's your opinions on that? Do you think they should have put Elvis Presley all-time greatest hits? I don't. I just think Presley all-time greatest hits says it all. So again, please share your thoughts below on this greatest hits album from 1987. And I just want to say, if you are watching my channel but haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It will help make my channel grow. And as always, as I sign out by saying, please keep Elvis close to your hearts. Please keep on playing his music. That's all I ask. And love to you all. And I will speak soon, everybody. Bye-bye.